Let me see. So I should be live.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We had some slight technical difficulties, but hopefully they will work themselves out as we go along. So thank you so much for coming to the live today. So today we're going to be talking about Gunz and Fundz. Now, Gunz and Fundz is an event that I'm putting together in collaboration with Maccabee Firearms and Training. So I have that instructor on as well. So we can kind of field your questions. He can kind of explain what's going on, why we're doing this, and why it's important to our community, and what you all can expect to get out of it. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and pop him up on the screen here. Hey, Malcolm, how are you?
Good. How you feeling, Tiff?
I'm doing pretty good. So we already have some people on. It looks like people are already popping up with comments and starting to be interactive. So that's a good sign. We're live.
That's good. That's good.
So just to give people a little bit about you first. So who are you, and what made you decide to go into firearms training and things like that?
Okay, my name is Malcolm. A lot of people know me as Malachi also. I moved here 4 years from Brooklyn, but even in New York, I've always been into firearms. So when I moved to North Carolina, I seen that North Carolina was an open carry state. I took an 8-hour course for concealed carry. But within that course, my instructor just played videos for 8 hours. So when I noticed that people were dozing off and sleeping, I said that I want to get into this, I guess, line of work because I love firearms and I was knowledgeable anyway. And I said, I really want our community to know the legalities of firearm ownership because a lot of our people get locked up in self-defense situations because they thought they could legally use a firearm, but they couldn't. So I said, this is a way that I can make an impact in our community in a positive light and kind of break that negative stereotype of firearms in our community.
Gotcha. Now, it says we're getting a strong echo. So,
Do you want me to take my headset off and try like that?
or maybe, okay, let's try this. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself and see if people
Okay.
get an echo. So just I guess what I can ask you is, so with that being said, so just to recap if you all didn't hear, it says strong echo feedback, the sound on his end is bad. Okay. So
So my end.
that's what they're saying.
Okay, so let me take off. Hold on 1 second.
It's technology, y'all.
Yeah, let me see. Bluetooth.
We're gonna work through. So in the meantime, if you all didn't get that, so Malcolm, he's originally from New York, so that's something we both share in common. He was saying that he had a strong inclination towards, he loved, firearms and the education behind it. And he realized when he moved to North Carolina, his firearm education wasn't that great. The people would just put on videos and expect people to learn from the videos. And he saw that people were starting to fall asleep in class and things like that. And so he's like, okay, how can I make this better? And especially for my people. Right. And so that's why he decided to do what he does now. So let's check your sound again. Let's see.
Okay, can you hear me? Is it still an echo?
Is that better, y'all? Yay, nay?
Let me say something else to see if they can hear me. Because now I took out the earbuds and I'm just using the phone itself. So do I sound better?
They're saying it's still echo. Okay, let me try something on my end. Hold on 1 minute. All right. Okay. Try to talk now and see if it has an echo.
All right, is there still an echo? I don't think so because I don't hear an echo now. Can I be heard?
Is it better, y'all? What is going on? Okay. All right.
Is it still an echo?
They're saying it's still okay. It says we're good. Okay. Woo!
Okay, good.
Yes. All right, perfect. We're good. All right.
Right.
So with all of that being said, he decided to become an instructor because he wanted to make sure that people were getting the proper education when it comes to firearm
Right.
training. So why am I doing this? You're probably like, why is Tiffany doing anything related to guns? Well, if you know me in real life, you know that I'm an avid gun person. I love guns. And I was actually like training to do competitions a few years ago and things like that. But just like Malcolm, I see that in our community, especially, there's a lot of people that don't know how to handle guns, don't know the proper terms for certain things on the guns, don't know how to, store their guns properly and safely. And so, with that being said, in that same regard, we both saw a need in our community. And I'm like, okay, why not partner up and do something together? Because that's another thing that you don't see quite often in our community, which is so unfortunate. We need to do better, y'all.
Right.
But we need to start partnering up with each other and helping each other. And, if you see a business that's doing something, you're like, oh, I love that. And you can do something with that business, act on it. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And also, selfishly, I needed my concealed carry again because mine expired. Mine expired back in
Right.
2018. And so I was like, I already wanted to go through the concealed carry process. And then when I was telling people that I was about to do it, they were like, well, I want to do it too. So I was like, okay, let me just make it an event, open it up to everyone. And that way we can all become more knowledgeable and also carry arms. Safely and legally. That's another reason why I'm doing this because there's a lot of our community that's not eligible to carry guns. Like when I first created this event, me and my husband were both going through our friends list and Facebook friends and all that stuff. And we like, dang, can't tag this person, can't tag this person, can't tag this person. Because as we know, we are hyper incarcerated as a community. And unfortunately, that affects a lot of different things. So in my eyes, everybody that is legally able to carry a firearm and get a concealed carry permit should absolutely do so. And so that's another reason why, I decided to do that and why Malcolm it has this passion.
And also, if you have a misdemeanor, you're still eligible to conceal carry. It's the felons that cannot carry. So don't get discouraged if you have a misdemeanor. Still get your concealed carry. It's very, very, very important in the community. Also, just a little bit about myself and my credentials. Obviously, I'm a North Carolina concealed carry handgun instructor, which I'm registered in all 100 counties. So you don't have to live in Guilford. You can take it to whatever county you're in and go to your respective sheriff's department, and you can still register for your concealed carry. I'm also an NRA basic pistol instructor, which I give NRA classes, which a lot of people probably know it's national. So I can go anywhere in America and teach an NRA basic pistol course, and you can get a certification for that as well. Also, far as my occupation goes, I work for the Guilford County Sheriff's Office, and I'm now a certified pistol marksman within the department. So a lot of us carry firearms in the department, but I guess you can say I'm above average because I'm actually a marksman for the county. So if something happens, I'll be one of the guys that they call in a situation.
Awesome, awesome. That is awesome news. Like, congratulations, first of all, because I know that's big.
Thank you.
Being probably one of the
Yeah.
only in your department or whatever to have that type of certification. That's awesome. And that's another point, too, I want to make y'all. We need more of us in those situations. Like, we need more of us in those positions. And so I highly commend you on going that path. And thank you so much for everything that you do on a daily basis. this, okay? Because
Thank
it
you.
can't go without saying that. So what we're here for really is Q&A, and just so you can get to know, a little bit about the event and why we're doing it. So the event is going to be held on October 24th. And it's going to run from 9 a.m. until I changed it until because
Uh-huh.
what we have decided to do is that so the state of North Carolina, they require an 8-hour class. Like you have to
Right.
do the full 8 hours, and that is imperative,
Right.
right?
Yes, you have to come on time. If you get there at 9:05, if you get there at 9:10, I cannot allow you in that class because I can get in trouble. The class can't be 7 hours and 50 minutes, 7 hours and 55 minutes. It has to be a full 8 hours. So you have your classroom section where we're going to go through the legalities. After the legalities, there's a proficiency part where you're going to have to show me that you can load a magazine, load a revolver, identify the parts of a pistol, identify the parts of a revolver. If you don't know that, that's fine. I'm going to help you with it. I'm going to teach you proper grip. I'm going to teach you proper stance. You're going to learn which is your dominant eye. These are things that we all go through in this 8-hour course. In the last part, North Carolina requires that you take a state examination. It's 20 questions. You have to get 15 out of 20. You have to make a 75. I don't care if you make a 75. North Carolina doesn't care if you make a 75. All they want to know is that you passed. At the end, the most important part, there's a shooting proficiency test. Where North Carolina requires that you do 30 rounds, my test is a little bit harder. It used to be 50 rounds where you would have to make 41 out of 50. But because of the pandemic and the price of ammo, now you have to do 31 out of 40 rounds with me, where it's 10 rounds from the 3 yard line, 10 rounds from the 5 yard line, 10 rounds from the 7 yard line. Then what I do with my students, I bring you back to the 5 yard line, and you have to shoot 5 rounds with your right hand, and you have to shoot 5 rounds with your left hand. Far as I know, I'm probably the only instructor in North Carolina that does that. And the reason why I do it is I'm not looking for you to be a marksman as of yet. I'm looking for you to survive a shootout if anything happens. So the reason, if you're a righty, you have to shoot with your left hand, God forbid, if you get shot in your right hand and it's not working anymore, that's not the first time that you've
Mhm.
used your firearm in your left hand. You can think back to your class and say, okay, I know what to do. And vice versa. If you're a righty if you're a lefty and get shot in your left arm, you can't give up the fight. You have to put your gun in your right hand and continue to protect yourself. So, like I said, a little bit of my test is about basic survival also, not marksmanship, because your groups and stuff, I don't care if you're all over the paper, as long as you hit 31 out of 40. But shooting one-handed is very important because a lot of people has never even thought about shooting one-handed, and there will be a case where you may have to.
Oh, and I'm so glad you said, because I did not get that in my first round of going through this.
Right.
When I had another instructor, I did not get that, and I never even thought, like, even when, like, I've always shot the same way. I always have the same, hold and everything, and I never thought
Mm-hmm.
about, okay, what if I can't do that hold? Like now I'm gonna be stuck because that's how I've been learning this whole time, and that's what I've been taught. And
Right.
so I'm glad that you take that extra step, and that's great because this is knowledge that we need. Because really,
Right.
we don't get guns to say, we want to kill somebody or anything like that. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's your prerogative, I don't recommend it. But I'm just saying,
Right.
usually it's for protection. And so to get the tools that we need to protect ourselves, regardless of the situation, I think that that's invaluable. And that's why I'm excited to be partnering with you too,
Mm-hmm.
because like I said, I didn't get that with my last training. And so this is going to be something that's completely different for me as well. Now, I will say, so people are probably like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But I will tell you, I've gone through the process. It may seem daunting at first, and especially with Malcolm, because he's so patient and so kind and so knowledgeable, it's so easy. Like once you get through, like I've had friends that have gone through Malcolm and people that have never picked up a gun before ever in their lives and were scared to actually pick up a gun. And once they went through the whole training and the process, now they're like, oh, Tim, let's go to the range, let's go shoot or whatever. And I'm like, you? Right? But once you get the knowledge down, you get that confidence, right? You get that confidence. And so that's another thing that's important here. Now, when he was saying about the qualification, so I've kind of changed things around on how we're doing that a little bit, because at first we had it to where you would be able to qualify on one of two dates. So that's how the sign up was set up. But I just got the news not too long ago that we are able to use a property out in the country. And if you know North Carolina, if you go to the country, you can shoot however, they can't bother you. And so there's property out in the country where we're actually going to do the qualifications the same day. So by the time the whole day is done, you'll have the class, you'll have the certificate, you'll have the qualification done. So all you have to do is then take that information down to the sheriff's department and let them do their thing. And so I kind of want to get into that as well. And that's why I put the until, because it just depends on whenever you finish your qualifier, you can go. It's up to you when you want to go. If you want to stay, hang around, just network with people, whatever, that's up to you. But once you finish your qualification, you're done. Our work here is done. Now it's up to you to go ahead and take that information to the sheriff's department. So while we're on that, hold on. Okay, so somebody said, I'm concealed to carry. I can't make the 1024 class. I want to attend his class and partner with him in the near future. That's great. Actually, I will, once this live is done, I will share Malcolm's information. So that way, if you can't make the 1024 class, he is always down. He is always
right. I'm always down.
Do some education or, to go through. If you already have your concealed carry, you can always get with him about, handgun safety, shooting with your non-dominant hand, like all of that stuff. He would be happy to go over with you. So I will definitely make sure his information gets in the comment section after the live is over. So thank you for that. So I just wanted to say, so once the qualification's over, what should people expect? So after they come on the 24th or they go through the concealed carry, they get everything that they need. What do they need to do next?
After that, every county is different, but you'll have to set up a date with the sheriff department of your county and you'll get fingerprinted. Once you get fingerprinted, they send it off to Raleigh. Guilford County, unfortunately, is backed up more than any other county, which I don't understand why. So Guilford County, once you go in our county, they're going to tell you 90 to 120 days. But I'll tell you now, unfortunately, that's something that we have to say because technically it's supposed to be 90 to 120 days. You're going to wait longer than 90 to 120 days. Some people that took my course have been waiting for a year. And that's just for an appointment because we're so backed up. I actually go in now and do overtime and help with the fingerprinting for the process to try to help speed it up with people. So overtime, I'm trying to get you guys your concealed carry as soon as possible, but 90 to 120 days. Other counties, it's not that long. You'll get your concealed carry permit in the mail for Guilford County. Some counties, they actually want you to go to the sheriff department and pick it up. So it just depends on the rules of your county. You just have to follow those rules. Your concealed carry is good for 5 years. You have to renew it every 5 years. It's $75 to renew it every 5 years, so that's not bad. It's $90 to actually get fingerprinted and get it sent off the first time, which is still extremely cheap once you consider. The reason why having your concealed carry is so important, number one, if you get pulled over and you let that sheriff know or that police officer know that you have a firearm and it's underneath your seat or it's next to you and say you have your pocketbook covering it, technically you can get arrested because it's concealed. It has to be visible, but with this, you have the option of actually concealing. So that's the only thing. but it's not a hard process. And I guess what makes my class a little bit different, Tiffany, than a lot of other instructors, most people that take my class, we end up having a relationship. Because when I give you my card, it's not thank you, you gave me your money, have a nice life. Once you take my class, you're kind of tied to me. You can call me anytime. And I'll go to the range with you, help you go shopping for firearms, ammo, holsters. So my class just isn't 8 hours and have a good life. Like I said, you have my number, you can use it anytime. And most of the people that have taken my class, we end up becoming friends now and doing stuff outside of shooting.
Yes, and I can definitely attest to that, because, like I said, I know people that have gone through his class, and whenever they
Right.
need to go, shopping for a firearm, and they have additional questions, he's so open and willing to help, that it's definitely not something that you'll get somewhere else. Because I know after I did my first time, that's another thing, y'all. Don't let it expire, or you're gonna be like me trying to go through this whole process again. Um, but when I went through it the first time, it was just like, here's your certificate, have a good life. Like, don't call me, type thing. And
Right.
that's not what Malcolm does. So that's why I wanted to partner with him on this, because I know his quality. I know that once he gets you through, you're going to be proficient, you're going to learn, and you can always follow up later on if you need help as well. So, again, thank you so much. And thank you for helping people get their paperwork processed on the other side.
You're welcome.
That is
You're welcome.
crazy. Not like that is crazy. People are still waiting. So here's another thing, y'all. Go ahead and start this process. Go ahead and sign up for the October 24th class so you can get the process started, because you don't know how long it's going to take, and you don't want to be in a situation, and just like the knowledge that the gym he just dropped, where if you have a firearm in your car and it's partially covered, technically it's concealed, and technically you can get arrested for. And we know that we know after, everything that's been going on, but especially last year, you got to be on point with knowing your laws, knowing your rights, knowing what you can and cannot do. So that way it causes less friction. Now, I know once you do have your concealed carry, right? All you have to do is say, I am licensed to carry conceal, have your little permit, because you're supposed to take it with you everywhere. And you just let the officer know. And then if they need you to pull the gun out, you just wait for the okay to, they'll let you know if you need to or not, right?
Now, I'm glad you said that.
Here we go.
In a perfect world, that's how it should go, and that's how it's supposed to go. But with my class, I teach something because I have to read the curriculum. So I'm going to read what it says step by step, what you're supposed to do when you get pulled over. But I have something that I've called over exaggerating the traffic stop, which is something that you'll see once we actually take the class, because unfortunately, a lot of African Americans get pulled over and things go left. So I've developed a term called over exaggerating a traffic stop. And it's not about being afraid, it's about making it home to your family. So, like Tiffany was saying, North Carolina is a duty to inform state. So, anytime you get pulled over, you have to let them know. If you have a cop that's really having a bad day, never give them the opportunity to ask you, do you have a firearm? Because when they pull you over, guess what? They're going to be able to see if you're a concealed carry holder or not. So the minute that you get pulled over, that's one of the first things you should let them know. I'm a North Carolina concealed carry permittee, and where the location of your firearm is at. One part that I teach, and I have a badge, and I still do it, and they hate it. When they tell you to reach for your firearm, part of the over exaggeration and be respectful, I say, with all due respect, if you want to see it, you have to come get it. I never reach for it. Why? Because we see what happened to Philando Castile. So that's always in my mind. For those that don't know Philando Castile, he was a concealed carry holder, legal. He got shot in front of his girlfriend and his daughter and died. When he went to reach for his firearm that the police officer told him to get, he got scared, and he shot and killed him. So in the real world or the perfect world, yes, go get it when they ask you to. But in my class, I teach, if they want it, they can come get it. There are
Mm,
times where they get upset. And like I said, when they see my badge, I don't care. Because one thing I teach is reality, and black officers have got shot by white officers. And it's not about race, it's just facts. So, like I said, they see my badge, and I've still never handed my gun over. You can come get it yourself. A lot of the times they'll say it's not necessary. And I say, with all due respect, it is necessary. So I just be respectful. And if you want it, come get it. That's it.
absolutely. I'm so glad you said that because that's so true. I didn't even think about that aspect. But see, when you have that knowledge and you can take that information and relay it to a person that might not have the same experience and knowledge as you, and get them to understand like this is why you should do things this way. Like for me, now it makes perfect sense. Now, when I get my concealed carry this time, and let's say I get pulled over or whatever, I'm not going to say, okay, let me get that. I'm going to be like, you know what? My hands are up. This is where it's at. You can go ahead and get it. That's
Mhm.
awesome. Awesome. Thank you. That's a gem right there. So here's a question
Right.
somebody has. When a cop
Hmm.
runs our license plate, is the concealed information listed under the plate registration? How are they to know that we have our concealed carry? Is it just our job to tell them?
No, it's not your job. Well, it is your job to tell them because North Carolina is a duty to inform state. But once they run your license plate, it's underneath that license registration that this person is a concealed carry not instructor, concealed carry permittee. Even if you don't have a firearm on you, the officer now knows. Because I was with a guy that got pulled over, and I don't know what his charges were, but the minute he was pulled over, the first thing the guy said is, "Well, I can see you're not allowed to carry a firearm." So we know, because a lot of times when the people come into the jail and I get the paperwork, I see that the plates were ran. Either they were a concealed carry holder or they weren't. So it's underneath the registration. It's just something that Raleigh does because North Carolina is a duty to inform state. And to answer that question, that's why I said be proactive. Don't give the officer a chance to ask you because he can be a real a-hole and say, well, you didn't inform me. I
Mm,
had to ask. So always think ahead, especially in our community. Like I said, a lot of the times we get caught up on the legalities. Anybody can pull a trigger. And you'll see once you take my class, I focus on legalities more than the shooting. A child can pull a trigger. It's the legalities that mess us up. Also, with your concealed carry, once you get your certificate, the certificate never expires. You can sit on that certificate for 10 years and then go apply. But once you get your permit is what expires. You have 30 days after the expiration date. If you do not get it renewed, you have to do like Tiffany and sit in the 8 hour class all over again.
but you know what? In this situation, I'm glad that I am because I'm learning stuff that I did not learn in my first class, but
Mhm.
also have to realize my first class was taught by somebody that doesn't look like me. And so they're not going to give you
Right.
all these little gems that you drop in right now.
Right. And that's the thing that made me really want to get into it. And I guess what makes me stand out as an instructor is that I teach it for our community, and it's a dictation style where you're forced to pay attention. And when I became an instructor, there weren't many of us in that class that looked like us. And the instructor from the NRA kept saying, I hear you saying your community, your community, your community. What are you talking about? He said, do you mean the African American community? And I said, yes, that's who I'm doing this for the African American community. Because there are many people that when I first moved to North Carolina, I open carry because I didn't have my concealed carry. And it would touch me that black men would come up to me and say, is that legal? And they've been here all their lives. And it would touch me when I would hear black men say, well, I'm scared to carry or I'm scared to open carry. And that's what really lit the fire and said, no, I have to get involved and show that strength. So a lot of the time still, I open carry to let people know it's okay. And to make it, I guess, to normalize African Americans open carrying. Now, to each their own, you don't have to open carry. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. That's a preference thing up to you. But I do feel that society needs to see responsible gun ownership in the Black community because representation matters.
Amen. Thank you. That is a whole word. Thank you. Because
You're
like,
welcome.
there's so like you said, the legal part of things is what catches us up a lot of times because we
Mhm.
don't know the legal side. The legal side is what's
Right.
important. And so that's why something like this is important. Even if you have your concealed carry, you should still get it from someone that looks like you, so
Mhm.
that way they can give you some tips and tricks on how to navigate as a person of your community. Like I know when I
Right.
was in my concealed carry course the first time, I was the only Black person in the room, to be real. And
That's how it was with me. Yep.
exactly. And so that's why I'm like, we need more of us with this knowledge so that way we can pass this knowledge on. We can pass on the right information instead of the wrong information. Because, if you depend on, like, let's say the streets or people aren't really that really don't know the legalities of the situation or how to properly do it, then you're just passing on bad information from generation to generation to generation. Now we have the opportunity, if we go through this course, we have the opportunity to change that narrative. And so now, like with my kids, I can tell them, okay, no, it's not a clip, it's a magazine. Like, let's go ahead, let's
Right.
see how we load this magazine. So that way I can give them the right terminology and I can give them the right knowledge going forward. Now they can take that information and teach whoever they want to teach. And so
Mhm.
this is a way that it continues to feed our community, but we have to have people that go through the process to learn it. Thank you so much, Malcolm, to learn this
You're
stuff
welcome.
so that way it can be disseminated and we can do this. Now, we had a question going back to the registration to your tags. What if your registration for your tags are in a different county that your concealed carry will be in?
Well, in order to get your concealed carry, your address on your driver's license has to be the same on your concealed carry. And far as your registration for your tags, I don't know that many people that has their registration and their license, their driver's license with different addresses. Now, if that does happen, that's something you would just have to explain to them. But 9 times out of 10, most of the time, your registration and your driver's license tend to have the same address. And if it doesn't, you have 30 days to change it. You have
Mhm.
30 days to change it. So you wouldn't have to stress it. Something that I do want people to realize also, I'll give you a gem with firearms, and you're going to hear me say it in the class. When you get one firearm, one is like having none. Eventually, save up and get another one as soon as possible. The reason why I say that, what a lot of people don't know, and what instructors don't tell you, and the people that have sat in my class that's taken it with other people have come to me and said, I wish I took it with you because you're so thorough with the laws. That's my strong point. If you have to shoot someone in a self-defense situation, your gun is going to be confiscated and held as evidence. Once your gun is confiscated, guess what? You're not allowed to buy another firearm. But if you already had a firearm, you can still carry. So you don't want to be a sitting duck. You want to always be able to defend yourself. So if that's the only gun that you have and it was used in a self-defense situation, guess what? Now you have no way to defend yourself because it's taken and put into evidence until the trial is over. But if you have another one, you can go home and put that one on your waist and they can't say nothing about it.
Mm.
And just to give everyone the heads up, at this class, pictures will be taken. I, as an instructor, have to take your picture. I have to take a picture of your test score. I have to take a picture of your target and basically a picture of you holding your target. Why? Because in the event that you shoot someone, they're going to call your instructor to come to court and show that you took this class, that you knew the laws, that you actually passed the state examination, and that you passed the shooting proficiency part. So a picture will have to be taken and kept on file. Every student I have has a file made for that reason.
Awesome. That is such a gem because that is not something that I was taught the first go round. But it makes
Right.
perfect sense. Like, if you do
Mhm.
have to use it in self defense, of course they're going to take it for evidence. And so now, guess
Right.
what? I don't even have a gun anymore. And I didn't even know that I couldn't even go and purchase one at that point. Like, you have to
Nope.
wait until the entire process is done.
It's done. Hmm.
Shoot. Well, luckily I didn't have to use it. I came close a couple times, but
Right.
I was kidding.
Right.
But dang, that's some good knowledge because I did not know that. And I just want to just read
Mhm.
you some of these comments coming through. People was like, yes, I wish
Okay.
I had you round one. And they were like, wow, yes, Malcolm, drop and spit that knowledge. Keep going, kind sir. Um, I have a question here. Someone said, can a
Mhm.
17-year-old take the class? So what's the age limit for who can take the
Ooh, that's a good question. I do offer a children's class. I
class?
do children's classes also. A 17-year-old, ironically, cannot carry a pistol. You have to be 21 for a handgun.
Mm,
At 18, that child can purchase a long gun, which is funny to me. 18, you can purchase an AR-15 or an AK-47, but at 18, you can't carry a pistol. I don't know why it's like that, but that's just the law. So they have to be 21 to actually purchase a pistol. Now, if you want that 17-year-old to take the 8-hour course, they can, but they'll have to take it again at 21. But
mm,
I do have a condensed version, a 2-hour course that I really don't teach so much on legalities, being they can't carry. It's
mhm,
more on safety, proper shooting, terminology. So there is a children's class that I offer as well. And there's no age limit. It depends on the maturity of the child. I've done classes with children that were 5 and 6 years old, and they did great.
mhm. And we're gonna have to we might have to run that one back for my kids too. So we may
Right.
have one for the kiddos coming up soon. Because
Mhm.
that's so important. I mean, look at for instance, look at what happened with Winston not too long ago with the kid came and he
Right.
shot some people or whatever.
Mhm.
Condolences go out to the family, but it's like if we
Right.
have the education ahead of time and we know how to properly, put the weapons away, make sure that they're safely stored, make sure that the kids know, I only get this when my parents are around, and have the proper
Mhm.
education on that, then stuff like that possibly could be avoided or at least deterred, because a lot of
Mhm.
times, kids they're curious, they just want to know what's going
They're
on,
curious.
see what's going on. And
Mhm.
I heard of a story not too long ago too where a child got a hook to a gun and they shot themselves by accident. But that's because they didn't
Yeah.
know how to properly handle that weapon. And so, like you were saying to your point, depending on the maturity of the child,
Mhm.
as young as 5, like I know, when I'm gonna say when because I'm gonna speak it into existence. When we do the kid version of this, I know, like my
Mhm.
youngest son, he would probably be good to go through this process. I feel like he would be
Mhm.
mature enough to have that knowledge down pat. Now, there are older kids that may not have that maturity level. And so you have to, as a
Right.
parent, you have to use your best judgment, but also you don't want the streets to teach your kid because then now the
Right.
kid is learning improper handling technique, all of that
Mhm.
stuff on top of being curious, so you,
Mhm.
you can't prevent a child from being curious, but you can give them the education that they need so that way if they are curious you could say, okay, hey, I understand you want to go shoot a gun, let's go to the range together and we can go and do it,
Mhm.
so you can get that curiosity taken care of, but we can do it in a safe way
Right.
and with the proper education. So I love that you offer that as well. So that might be something that we run this back on is for the kiddos. So
Okay.
for the people under 21 that's not eligible to get the concealed carry, just to have that
Mhm.
information down pack as well. Somebody posted a comment. They said, once I'm done with Malcolm, I'm going to feel like I'm CIA certified.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Because like you'll hear me say all throughout the class, anyone can pull a trigger. It's all about legalities. And one of the things I want to emphasize with everyone that's taking the class, having a firearm, and you'll hear me say it that day, it's not the end all be all. You have to train. You have to train. You have to learn how to pull your firearm from your holster. Start out slow, pick up speed. Like I think right now at my time, I could probably pull my firearm out of the holster in 9/10 of a second and put a shot on target because you have to practice. You never want. Sorry about that.
You're good.
I had a telephone call. You never want to try to pull your firearm out of the holster in a self-defense situation and that being the first time. You want to actually practice these things. You want to practice shooting as well. Because like I said, anyone can pull a trigger, but the question I ask you is, can you shoot? From 3 yards, can you put a round in a 2-inch circle? That's shooting. Anybody can pull a trigger. Anybody can pull a trigger, but shooting is something totally different. And I really want to commend the sisters because, like I said, when I moved to North Carolina, there's racism everywhere, but it's kind of blatant in the South. So that was something that I wasn't used to. And when I went to the Department of Justice to start the process of becoming an instructor, it was 60 people in there. I was the only African American going to become an instructor. So I kind of felt like a fly in a bowl of milk because I was like, man. But one thing he said, and I'm really big on the ladies, and I salute all of you sisters. He said, if there was, and you'll hear me say it that day, he said, if there was a white woman in the room, he said a Hispanic and a black woman. He said, the first person I would go to attack would be the black woman. He said, because a black woman would rather spend $500 on a purse than on something to defend themselves. And statistically, he was absolutely right. In the United States of America, black women, up until 2 years ago, were considered the softest target out of any demographic, which basically was saying there's a possibility that a Caucasian will have a firearm. There's a possibility that a Hispanic would have a firearm. So the easiest target would be an African American woman. It's just into 2 years ago now, African American women are the largest demographic. So salute the sisters for changing that and actually going out to defend themselves, because that's remarkable that when I first started 2 years ago as an instructor, you women were the softest target. And now it's switched to you being the largest demographic into getting your firearms. I don't know why the paradigm shift, but I'm glad it happened. I'm glad it happened.
Well, me too. But probably because, it's been, more people are starting to become aware that we were, I don't know if we still are.
I can't hear you, Tiff. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Let me go out and come right back in. I'll be right back.
Okay. And guys, while he's popping out, popping back in, if you all want to just drop your questions, drop your feedback, drop your comments, I am able to see all of the Facebook and YouTube messages as we're going. Instagram, I have somebody keeping an eye on that, so they're able to feed us questions as well. So please, if you have anything,
I'm back, Tiff.
Okay, there we go.
But you sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks now.
Oh no.
You sound like a chipmunk, so I can't really understand what you're saying.
Hold on, let me okay, hold on, let me. How about now?
You sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks still.
Oh my gosh, let us be great. Okay, hold on, let me see.
Can you hear me?
Let me see. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh man, and I don't think I can leave. Hold on.
I'll go back out again and see. So I'll leave and come back.
Okay. Oh yeah. Can you all hear me? Okay, so everything on y'all's end is good. So we'll have to figure it out. Oh, I can't sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks the whole time. All right, hold on. Let me add them back. All right, is it better now?
Am I clear? You
Yes.
sound like a chipmunk, but
But can you understand what I'm saying at least?
I wish you could hear this. I don't know.
Okay, because they're saying everything on their end is good as far as the sound. So I don't know. I can't really okay. Okay. Um
Um,
so
I don't know if it's my reception. I don't know if it's my reception or not, but my bars are up and you're not lagging as far as your picture quality.
okay.
But I guess it's just your voice.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go completely out. Give me 1 minute and I'll come right back.
Okay. Oh, and I was gonna okay. Also try switching between Wi-Fi and data. Like if you're on Wi-Fi, maybe switch to data. If you're on data, maybe switch to Wi-Fi and see.
Does she sound like a
Can you hear? Still the same? Okay. He's still working through that. But yeah, if you have any questions about concealed carry, about the event, about how you can sign up, I guess while I'm waiting for him, I'll go ahead and tell you how you can sign up. So if you're interested in starting the process on your concealed carry, you can go to www.moneytalkwitht.com/Gunz-Fundz, or you can just go to the main page and you'll see it up at the top as a banner. And you can sign up there. All right, let's see. How's it sound now?
I have an idea. Let me try this.
Okay. Okay, because we definitely want Malcolm back because he dropping some gems. Like whoever missed this, make sure y'all are sharing this stream, wherever you're listening from, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever, because I'm streaming everywhere. So if you are getting this and you're finding value, make sure you're sharing this because that's how we get ahead. We have to continue to share information. Otherwise, we'll keep going on the same cycles that we have been. And we all know that does not work. And so please share the knowledge, share the information. Even if you don't sign up for the class and you just take these few gems that you learned today and pass it on to someone else, it could save a life. It could protect someone else from getting shot or from getting injured or something of that nature. So please take this knowledge and do that. All right, let me see. Malcolm just popped in. Let's see. Can you hear me okay now? Let me see. Let's see. Testing. I think he's still working through. But while he's getting his camera and everything. Uh-oh. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me, Tiff?
I can hear you just fine. Do I still sound like Alvin?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Nah, you don't sound like Alvin anymore.
Okay. And when I say Alvin, I'm not talking
All
about my
right.
husband. I'm talking about Alvin and the Chipmunks. All right, cool. So you can hear me just fine?
And the Chipmunks, Alvin and the Chipmunks.
All right, so now it seems like it's a delay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All right, so it seems like it's a delay now. So I'll try to.
Yeah, there's a hold up. There's a delay. Is there a way that I can use this? Hold up. Let me.
Mhm. All right, y'all. While we're still getting this situated, make sure you're dropping your questions because that's what we're here for. We're here to answer questions. The event is October 24th. I'll go ahead and pop that back on the screen. October 24th. It lasts from 9 a.m. until And until means until you finish your qualifier, which is where you have to shoot and get a certain proficiency with the gun. Don't feel, don't feel like this is something that you might not like. Let's say you've never picked up a gun before in your life. I can guarantee you that by the time of this class, you will be proficient with the weapon. So just don't let that deter you from this whatsoever. All right, let me see. Okay, can you hear me?
You're sounding like a chipmunk. Let me see.
I don't know.
Audio. Phone microphone. Echo cancellation.
All right. And while he's doing that, I just realized that there was something else I didn't do. So the people on my personal page might not be able to see this. So while I'm waiting for him to come back, let me just check on this real quick. Does anybody have any questions whatsoever on what's going on, how you can get signed up, any of that stuff? Make sure you drop it in the comments because I can see it. Oh, okay. So there were some questions from my personal Facebook. So I'm going to pop that up on this screen and hopefully Malcolm will come back soon and we can get him to answer these. Let's see.
Tiff.
Okay.
I'm back now. I'm back.
All right. Perfect. Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you. You don't sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks now.
Yay! And
So yes, we're back. But like I was saying, I just wanted to salute all of the sisters that have took the initiative. And like I said, just in a 2-year time span, have went from being the softest targets to being the lead demographic of getting their concealed carry. But like I tell everybody, it doesn't stop.
Uh-oh. Darn. What happened? And no problem on the gibberish. Completely understand. I don't know what happened. Gotta love technology, y'all.
Right, you have to love technology.
All right.
But like I told people, there's a lot of training that comes into it. And you'll see that day with a little game that we're going to play in the class, because you're going to have to start training under pressure, because in a self-defense situation, that goes for males and females, your heart rate starts to accelerate. Gross motor skills definitely goes out the window. Fine motor skills go out the window. So there's a little test or a little game that we're going to play just to show everyone the difference between being relaxed in a setting and then trying to do it when your heart rate is up. So my class is a little different, but it's more realistic and reality based, because like I said, I want my people to survive a fight and know what it's like. So
Awesome. That's good stuff. Like I definitely didn't get that with my first go round. So I'm excited. This is definitely work because I paid the same amount for my first class and I didn't get quite as much information as you are providing even today.
right, right, and that's what a lot of people say. They be like, "That's all we have to pay, and we get all of this." I just tend to do a little bit more because, like I said, the class that I sat in, I don't want anyone to experience what I experienced. And at the same time, I love my people and I have a passion for this. And like I said, firearms have been demonized in our community for so long, where it's funny because if you look at an African American with a firearm, realistically, we're not the ones that are known to be mass shooters, but we're more worried when we carry a firearm than when a Caucasian carries a firearm. So there's a lot of psychological things that we have to work through. So that's why I try to actually just be that positive influence in our community and everyone that's taking the class, and just to be a different instructor than everyone else. So that's why my class is dictation. You're not going to sleep. You're forced to pay attention. You're forced to write down what you feel is important, because it's easy for me to sit there for 8 hours and just let a video run and say, well, if you have a question, ask me. I actually want you to walk away with the confidence to be knowledgeable in the situation.
Absolutely. And so I just want to give you all a little background about myself. And then I have some questions on my personal Facebook stream that
Okay,
we weren't getting as we were going. So I'm going to go back
cool.
through those questions too. But personally, just me, I grew up Pentecostal holiness, which is very, 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 very strict Christian. And when I was growing up, I was not allowed to even have a water gun. Like guns were just no. Like I could
Right.
not have any type of gun. If it looked like a gun, it didn't matter if it was the little dollar store things, I
Right.
couldn't have it. And so you know, a lot of times in our communities, you know, that might be a situation, or, you know, we might have gone through something traumatic or seen someone get shot or something where now we're afraid of the guns, but it's really afraid due to not having the knowledge to properly do it, you know, to
Hmm.
properly handle it. And so that's why this is also so important, because it helps us get through, you know, whether it was our upbringing or whether it was something that we experienced later on in life. It allows us to get past that hurdle, and now we can properly handle the gun, get the information, get the education that we should have been received. But we're not going to talk about that. But you know, now we can start moving forward and getting past those hurdles. Now, let me go into these questions here. So I have
Okay.
someone on my Facebook page that says, I didn't know that they could see. Well, let me do them in order. Hold on. Okay. So question, how does your procedure work with veterans? So there's some veterans listening in, and maybe they don't have their concealed, or how does that work when you used to be in the armed forces, you're not active duty anymore?
Um, if you're in North Carolina and you were a veteran, in order to conceal carry, you still have to have a concealed carry permit,
Mm.
even if you were a veteran. Even if you're active duty to conceal.
Uh-oh. No, that was some good stuff. Come back. Oh, so hopefully it comes back. Please keep dropping your questions, because as you can see, Malcolm is super knowledgeable. He's on both
There we
sides.
go.
Okay,
We're
there we go.
back.
Okay.
But yes, veterans have to have a concealed carry permit also. The only ones that don't have to have it if you're retired law enforcement. If
Mm.
you're retired law enforcement and you put the paperwork in, you don't need your concealed carry.
Ah, okay. So that's important information. So
Mhm.
even if you used to serve and you know used to have guns all the time,
Mhm.
if you want to have if you want to carry concealed in the state of North Carolina, you still have to have your permit. So veterans, you still have to go through this process.
Right.
And the only exception is what he just mentioned. So just keep that in mind, because you don't want to get caught slipping, because you know, a lot of people are like, you know, I was in service to this country, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, a lot of times it's just that knowledge gap between what's the law and what we
Right.
think is right, you know?
Mhm.
And so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Someone asks, is it virtual or in person? This is in person. We haven't figured out a way. I don't even think you can legally do it virtual.
You
Um,
can't.
okay,
You
so
can't
there you go.
because you have a shooting qualification. There's a state exam you have to take, and there's certain things that I have to actually physically be able to see you do, like proper grip, proper stance. There are things I have to watch you do. Watch you load your magazine, load a revolver. These are things that I have to physically see you do.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that.
You're
So
welcome.
this is an in-person class on October 24th. We can do this again. So if you can't make it October 24th, but you're really, really, really interested, now don't say,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm interested," and then we go through this whole process again and you don't sign up. Like we not
Mhm.
we're not gonna do that. But
Right.
if you are really, really, really interested and you can't make it on this day, please let me know, because I'll take that feedback back and we can run this back. We can run this back as many times as we need to get as many people, you know, armed, you know, and getting their
Mhm.
permits and things like that. So October 24th, it is a Sunday. I know some people, you know, that's their religious day or whatever. So I
Mhm.
understand. But it is important to go ahead and start this process, because like he said, in the state of Carolina, and especially Guilford County, you have to wait a while
Right.
to get your actual permit to actually be able to do it. Now, one thing that I thought was cool, and I actually educated somebody on this the other day, is that you can use your concealed carry to purchase a weapon.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that, but real honestly, y'all, that's how I bought all my weapons. With my concealed carry permit. And so once you have your concealed carry, you no longer need just a regular gun permit to
A
purchase.
purchase permit, right.
Mhm. Okay.
And the good thing about that is with the purchase permit, for those that are listening, you only can buy one firearm at a time with the purchase permit. Whereas with your concealed carry, I just walked in and brought 4 firearms at one time, and
Mm.
there's no questions asked.
Ah, it's always the good gems, y'all. But make sure y'all keep dropping those questions and comments so we can answer them. All right,
hmm
go back. Go ahead.
And there's no such thing as a dumb question. And that's what you're going to hear me emphasize a lot in the class because it's really each one teach one. And I'm not one of those instructors to feel like I know everything. If I don't know, I'm going to honestly tell you I don't know. I'd rather tell you I don't know than give bad information. And if there's something that you specialize in, guess what? I'm all ears for that too. Because if I can walk away with something, so be it. If you're a better shot than me, so be it. I'll sit up under you. That's not a problem because I really don't have an ego. It's really each one teach one
Mhm.
for our community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one more question. So somebody had on my personal page that we didn't get to yet. I didn't know that they could see it if they run your plates. I feel like my plates are run often, but because I don't ride dirty, they leave me alone. Does this information slash license trigger a reason for an officer to pull me over now?
No, mm-mm. They can pull you over for whatever reason. They, whatever reason they feel if you broke a law or whatever, you can get pulled over. But there are times that plates get ran when they're behind you and people have no idea that their plates are being ran. Don't think that don't happen. They may deny it, but it happens. It happens. And if they pull you over, it should be a legitimate reason that they pull you over. But like I said, I work for law enforcement, but all law enforcement, you have good and bad in every situation. In every job, there's good and bad. So that's why I just really emphasize to my people to be educated and be prepared. That's it. But at the same time, I know we hate, well, some people may hate the open carry, but I will tell you this. If you do not have that permit and you get in a situation and you can legally use your firearm, be mindful there are cameras everywhere. Cameras you can see on the street, restaurants. If they see you pull your firearm and it was concealed and you didn't have a concealed carry, you just put yourself in kind of a pickle because legally you could have defended yourself, but now when you go to trial, they're going to say, "Why did you take the firearm from underneath your shirt and you had it concealed and you didn't have a concealed carry permit?"
Mm,
So I know people may not be a fan of it, but open carry until you get that permit because you never want to say nothing is going to happen. Because the minute that you say nothing is going to happen, that will be the day that something happens.
yeah.
Situational awareness, family is so important. And it can happen and it can go down anytime. It's not about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. And
Yeah.
this is a part of being prepared.
Yep. And like they say, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right?
So you don't have to get ready. And one of the best things that I've heard from a female student of mine, she's single, she lives by herself. She said she thought someone was breaking in. She said the first thing she did, and I went with her to purchase her first firearm. She said the first thing I did was grab my gun. She said, and I felt comfortable doing that. She said that I can actually defend myself now.
Mhm.
So that's always a good feeling. When you feel that you can actually defend yourself, let that be a motivating factor if you're a parent. Remember, you're responsible for your child's life. You're responsible for making it back home to your family. So this is something that everybody that can should do it. I don't care if you come to me or not. You can go to anybody. I just want you to be armed and educated. That's it. Armed and educated.
Absolutely. We're just putting this on as a way that you can do it in a group setting, and if you follow me or whatever, you can do it with me. But this is not the end all be all. There's so many options that you can do. And the most important thing, as we're stressing, is that you educate yourself. I feel the same thing with money too. You don't have
Right.
to listen to me, but listen to somebody so that way
Right.
you get educated. And so we're here for the same cause, just in two different arenas. And it's just important that we educate ourselves as a community. So, with that being said, as I'm doing this wrap up, if you have any questions, please drop them. This is your opportunity. We're doing
Right.
this for you. So please let us know. But I just wanted to just let people know, if you are interested in taking the concealed carry course with me, October 24th, 9 a.m. because that's until you finish your qualification.
Right.
It is an investment of $150, but that covers your class, that covers your lunch, which I am cooking. So if you've ever had my food,
Yeah,
you
she's a
know,
chef.
you already know that it's going to be bomb. So I will be cooking myself. That's going to be our lunch. And then also, if you don't have any weapons right now, Malcolm is providing his
Right.
personal firearms for you to practice with, and for you to do the qualification, and for you to learn with. So you don't
Right.
even have to have a gun with you.
Nope.
All you have to do is bring yourself. Do they need their ID or anything like that?
Just your driver's license. I provide your eye protection. I provide your ear protection. Before the pandemic, I used to have people qualify with 9mm because I just like 9mm, and I would want my students, especially first.
Uh, Darn, we lost him again. It's okay. He'll pop back soon. If you have any questions, y'all, please get them out as we're doing this wrap up. I know we've hit an hour already, but
Okay,
we want to
there
keep
we go.
going. All right, go ahead.
But what we're going to qualify with that day is a 22 caliber,
Oh, nice.
which is kind of like a BB gun. It
Yeah.
has no recoil, but a 22 is good because it helps you work on your fundamentals without having to worry about the recoil. Now, would I personally carry a 22 for self-defense? No, that's kind of for birds and small rodents and so forth like that. But that's what we're going to qualify with because North Carolina state says that it has to be live fire. It never dictates the caliber. So
Mm.
22 is acceptable to qualify with. And just to let people know, put your ego aside. There was a guy that never shot a gun before, and he said, you know what? I want to pass. So I want to qualify for 22. He used the 22, where there was a female when ammo was so cheap, she wanted to qualify with the 357. And I told her I didn't advise that you qualify with the 357 because you're a first time shooter. She said it was because she's a female and she felt I was being sexist. I said, no, I'm one of the instructors that actually feel that guns aren't gender based. There is no such thing as a female gun. I'll tell anybody, please stay away from people that say that that's a girl's gun or that's a guy's gun. It's kind of like saying that's a guy car and a girl car. They're not gender based. So
I'm.
she qualified with the 357 and she failed miserably.
Mm,
And she had to set up an appointment and qualify with the 9. And she said, I apologize and I see what you were talking about. Because there are some women that can shoot a 357 better than a man.
mhm.
I've seen Tiff. She likes a 357. So, and she shoots it well, and she's a female. So, firearms aren't gender based at all. So, please, that's the only advice. If you hear instructors say this is a girl's gun, because when females come to me and they say, well, what's a good girl's gun? I always say there's no such thing as a girl's gun. It's what you're comfortable with.
Because I will tell you what I have right now is a 45. So I
Right.
have a 45 as my weapon of choice. It's a Glock. I want to say it's a Glock 21, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
It's the big boy. It's
Sheesh.
probably about that big. But that's what I have as my personal protection. So please don't run up on me because
Right.
no, but I completely exactly what you're saying. Like for in shooting, right? So in gun ownership, things like that, there's not a lot of. I'm not gonna say there's not a lot of females. I will say we are underestimated, right?
Right.
And the thing is we can do anything that we put our minds to, regardless of what it is. And so if you decide, because like I said, y'all, I used to train competition shooting. I was the only female in the room. I was the only Black person in the room, but I used to do it because it was something that interests me. And so whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. Don't allow anybody to say, oh, that gun's a little too big for you. Okay, let me show you how I work it, and then you can come back and tell me that again if you want. So that's why I'm just like, whatever it is that you want to shoot, as long as you have the basics down, you know how to line up your sights, you know how to shoot properly, you know how to, hit the targets, then once you get that down, you can upgrade to whatever it is that you want. I've had so many different guns. I hate that I sold a lot of them, but I've had everything from like a M4. Well, I shot an M4 before, which is a fully automatic, which unfortunately in the state of North Carolina you can't do.
You can't do
it. But when I was in Florida, I was at a range and I was able to shoot a M4. They have shotguns in their ranges down there. They have some of everything. Here in North Carolina, they only have rifles and handguns. So if you ever go to the range and you don't have a weapon, usually they have some available for you to rent if you so choose. And also that's a good way for you to kind of get a feel of what they all feel like. I know when I was at the range here locally, Calibers, I used to be friends with some of the people there. Unfortunately, they're not there anymore, but they would give me some of the big boys to shoot because they knew I knew how to shoot. They're like, here, try this, try this, And so it allowed me to see like, ooh, that's a little too much for me. Or, okay, I like this before I went and purchased one. So definitely keep that in mind as well. Just to recap, if you all have no other question, I don't see any more coming through. So just to recap, October 24th, 2021, Gunz and Fundz 2021 is going to be live in person in Greensboro for the 8-hour long class. And then we're going to go to an undisclosed location, which only the students will know about, to do our qualifications that day. And if you can't stay the whole time, you can always get with Malcolm. Well, if you can't stay for the qualification part, you can always get with Malcolm and he can.
And we'll go to Calibers. I'll take you to Calibers and you qualify then. But the day that you qualify, if you qualify that day, you'll get your certificate that day. If you do not do the shooting part that day, you'll get your certificate once we meet up at Calibers, and your fee and everything is covered because you'll be coming with me. We'll just go there for 10, 15 minutes, get you qualified, and then you will get your certificate. Before we do close out, I just want to emphasize on the Fundz part also, whereas if you don't come for the 8 hours and you are an entrepreneur, come out for that part to network. As an entrepreneur, networking is so important, especially in our community, because the dollar only circulates one time in our community before it actually exits. That's why if you're in New York, where I'm from, Jewish people call the black dollar, they call our community liquid gold. They say because we spend the money and pour it right back out into the other community. So they have termed the black community liquid gold. You don't want to be liquid gold. We are each other's most valuable resource. So I'm not so much excited about the firearm part. I'm looking forward to grabbing all of these business cards and being able to use the resources in our community, whether it's gardening, whether it's shirts, no matter. I know we have people that do everything. Ladies, if you do hair, whatever you're doing, we have it in our community and it's quality at the same time. We can't be skeptical of supporting black businesses. And at the same time, black businesses, the entrepreneurs, have to bring that professionalism that's expected. And we just can't have that mentality like it's a black consumer, so we can give them whatever. We
Mm-hmm.
always have to put our best foot forward, professionalism. That's why 9 o'clock we'll be starting promptly. There is no 5 minute grace period because it's my certification that's on the line. And like they said, if you let somebody come in 5 minutes late, they said we'll always find out. If not, then the Department of Justice, they've shown so many videos of text messages that people got saying I'm gonna be 5 minutes late, and the instructor says okay. What that showed me sometime is that I felt they may send somebody there and send a text to see if you're going to say okay, still come through or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. The $150 isn't worth the money that I've put out to become an instructor. So I'll say, you know what? You have to reschedule. I'm sorry you were 10 minutes late. There's nothing I can do for you. So to be on time is to be late. Come 10 minutes early. Better be
Mm-hmm.
safe than sorry.
And I
Right.
also want to add to that there will be no refunds. So if you
Right.
do this, do this and make sure that you are early. If there's an issue with your transportation, whatever the case may be, let it be known to your community so that way we can work to try to get you there.
Get you. Right.
Like don't like suffer in silence. Like we have a bad habit of
Right.
doing that. Don't do that. Like if something comes up and you like, hey, I need a ride, I need this, I need that, let us know so that way we can help to a certain extent now. But I just want to make sure I put that out there. So I'm so glad that you brought up the funds part because I completely, I'm so excited about the Gunz part.
Right. I'm excited about the funds. I'm ready to meet entrepreneurs and support my community.
Yes. So if you are interested in just coming to network, because as you all may have known, like this is my first in-person event in like 2 years or so. And so if you just want to come to network, business network, all of that stuff, we do have that option available too. It is $20, but it is available on the site. All you have to do is go to the frequently asked questions, and you'll have the link there to sign up for that portion. The reason it's $20 is because lunch is still included, so you can still eat. You can still eat, but it also gives you an opportunity to get your business out there to some more eyes. I take networking very seriously. These are all business cards that I have collected from an event that I went to last week that I am going to follow up on each and every one of these. And so I take networking very seriously because you don't know who may need your services
Right.
or who they know that might need your services. And so that's why I'm like, any chance I get, I'm handing out my money talk with Tiff card everywhere. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Because you never know. So please, if you already have your concealed carry, you don't want to sit through the whole 8 hour. You just want to come and network. It's just $20, and you still get lunch. I have to decide on whether you still get the T-shirt or not. Probably not, because I think that's something that the graduates get. But you
Right.
still get lunch. You still get lunch. So definitely, if that's of interest to you, please come out for that as well. So that's the funds part of the situation. If you have any questions past today, we may go live when we get a little closer
Right.
to flesh out some more of the questions. If you are interested in getting a shirt, this is very important. I have to have those orders in by the end of this week. And so, because it's homecoming season, my shirt lady's getting busy. And so, she gave me a deadline of October 9th. And so, if you are interested in coming and you want the t shirt, then you have to have your registration in before the 9th. There's no exceptions to that either. And so that's another thing that we're stressing with this, y'all. Once you know information, act on it. Don't
Right.
procrastinate. Don't sit there and ha, for whatever long, and then you miss the boat. We have a bad habit of doing that. I do that sometimes myself. And
Right.
so once you have the information, act on it. If you can't afford it right now, reach out to me and let me know. Maybe we can work something out.
Right. Reach out.
I'm all about the whole money situation. So, but also realize that it's priced very, very low. Like
Right.
for instance, we're not getting a profit from this. This
Right.
is just for us to cover the facility, cover all of the extra stuff, the food, whatever. And so also keep that in mind as well. So anyway, with all of that being said, I don't see any questions coming through. once again, you can sign up moneytalkwitht.com. You'll see the little banner up at the top. And if you have any questions throughout the process, you all know how to reach me. You're here, so you know how to reach me, right? I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And if I don't know, I'll be more than happy to pass it on to Malcolm and we'll get your questions answered. Thank you so much, Malcolm, for dropping all of these gems. And you stayed extra. I'm so grateful because you were just dropping them like bam, 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 bam. And I'm just like, dang, I ain't even know this stuff. And I've been doing this for a long time.
Right.
So I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, and congratulations for the success of your podcast, Money Talk with Tiff. What, 5% globally? So I feel like I'm sitting with a celebrity. I've been bragging to everybody about you and that accomplishment. So I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And you know me, I'm so low key with it. Like
right.
I still ride around in this car with the two-tone hood, cracked windshield, air condition barely working. Like it's just, you have to stay grounded. You have to stay grounded. Like I don't even realize, like my husband tells me all the time, like, you don't even realize how big you are. My t-shirt girl just said that the other day. You don't even realize.
You're a celebrity. You're a celebrity in the triad.
I don't think I'm I really don't realize, but you know what? It's cool. I'm just glad people are tapping in and getting the knowledge. That's all I'm excited about. And so
let me tell you, my homeboy from Pender County, which is 4 hours away, when I told him who I'm doing it with, he was like, I seen her. Said she did an interview and I was reading up on her. So I said, really? So I was hyped. So people 4 hours away in Pender County even know who you are. So you are a celebrity. That's what made me so nervous, and I'm honored. I'm like, out of all the people she know, she chose me. So I'm humbled and I'm thankful for the opportunity to work with you.
Awesome. Well, that is humbling for me to even know that, like, because, you know, a lot of times I just sit here and I'm just putting out content, putting it out. I really don't know who it's touching, who is reaching, who, like, where it goes from there. I just want to get the information out. So to hear feedback like that gives me a little more oomph, you know, to make sure I keep going. So I appreciate that. Thank you all for tuning in. I know we went a little long, but I hope you found value in this. And if you did, make sure that you are sharing this information. Make sure you hit that share button, hit that love, like button, whatever. Make sure you follow us because I'm going to drop Malcolm's information too once this is over in all these locations. Make sure that you follow us as well so we can keep these conversations going. All right. Well, thank you so much, Malcolm. Thank you to the audience. I appreciate you tuning into this live and staying the whole time if you did.
Thank you. Yep, we appreciate it.
An hour and a half. That's some dedication. But thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.